Good morning. Huh. Tesla with a little bit of a gap up this morning. It seems like their China numbers were pretty good. GSAT, the satellite name. Yeah, GSAT's pretty dang nice too.
On LTRN reports additional positive LP184 phase 1A results. LTRN.
No, I don't think, with a GSAT, this could just be a high type flag, right? It just keeps surfing the 20 simple moving average. It's tightening up on the right hand side. I don't know that you need to necessarily wait more if those satellite names are going to perform well. Let me take a peek at something. Yeah, GSAT's only 4.3 times its ATR from the 50. It's not wildly extended, actually. Yeah, correct. I already have a list of names that, I have like a watch list on, but when I come across a nice setup, I still like to reset an alert on particular things just because you never know what's going to trigger. And then even if it's not on one of my screens, because I've got, several of them, I still want to know what's moving, right? That's still the idea. Because let's say my PL alert triggers, let's say GSAT alert triggers, let's say I notice ASTS still going up. Well, then at that point, I can already infer quickly because of some alerts triggering, and I'll then kind of keep an eye on them. That money is going into the satellite, names or the aerospace and defense names. No, technically, we have not seen a follow through day, right? You would be waiting for one of these days to have like a 1% move and a pickup in volume bigger than the prior day high. We haven't had a follow through day in the traditional sense, but since we're living back above the 50 simple moving average, I'm not even thinking that the market's going to give us one because it was a holiday week and the market just kept bouncing right through the 50. So um, and breadth has expanded like crazy, right? We have been seeing stocks flying left and right. So, it just is what it is. Thoughts on CCJ? This one's kind of got to get back above the 50 simple moving average. Let's also set an alert here. Yeah, not bad. If we see CCJ, we might see some strength in like a BWXT, an LEU, CEG, right? That's probably what we would see. Yeah, but I set a little note with it too, so that when the alert hits, I don't even really have to look at the chart. I kind of know what's going on. Like for something like CCJ, I know that it would be a 50 simple moving average undercut and rally. Yeah, CEG not bad. Just big bases that are hanging in there. GEV's another one. Just a pretty big base. Any thoughts on BW? Not bad. Isn't this like part of the construction industry? Not bad. Hard to find setups that offer low risk entries. It depends how you trade, right? I don't know that. I don't think that that's totally true based on how I trade. There are names that are setting up high type flags. There are names that are trying to reclaim the 50-day, that you can use the 50-day as your guide and prior day low, right? You know, TSM's trying to trigger this morning because it's technically gapping up and, you know, taking out a prior day high and then using prior day low. I mean, this is, I don't know that 1.7% risk on a position is a lot as long as you size in properly. Again, what are your entry tactics? So, you know, what stocks are you focusing on? I don't know that I agree with that statement of it being hard to find setups. I think that there's still a lot of setups. I think that stocks that have recently gapped up on earnings are acting pretty dang good. I think that if you're focused on some commodities, you know, buying them against their ascending moving averages can be pretty good. So it all depends on your particular entry tactics. I don't think this is too clean here, right? I mean, good that it didn't die on earnings, but you know, came down, bounced back, small gap down, hanging out on the 50. I mean, but this is just sloppy. This is very, very sloppy price action. See how much cleaner it was right in here? Building a nice series of higher lows and then got really tight on the right-hand side of the chart. Picture perfect, right? Then the market kind of started to yank pretty hard and this one got pulled with everything else. And now this is all sloppy over here, right? So just be patient for something like CrowdStrike. But yeah, Dylan, it really just depends what your entry tactics are. If you're comfortable buying a higher low setup, then that could be a low risk setup. You know, if you're comfortable, I mean, even some of these home builders too, Gabo, bringing them up. This is another sector, right? Tight little inside day, right? In a chart that's technically starting to establish itself above the 200 simple moving average. So yeah, there are some names out here that still look pretty good. Futu I like. Just I have an alert set. Has to get going back above the 50 simple moving average. Otherwise, I just leave it alone. Man, I got kind of lucky with Netflix, huh? Gapping down overnight. I didn't really see any news, but I was using the 20 simple moving average as my stop, and you know, now we're gapping down kind of hard. Yeah, Marvell is a semiconductor that'll be interesting to keep an eye on. CRDO obviously was one that gapped up the other day. I thought it was up a little too much going into that gap up, but you know, there we are. Looks pretty dang good. TSM is one that's gapping up. I think looks pretty good as well. MU slight gap down, but I think this daily still looks pretty good. Just needs to finish building out the right-hand side of its base. DQ, is that the solar, Chinese solar? You know, here's the reality. If I'm going to try and get myself in a solar, which I'm in one, FSLR is the one that I'd like to be in, right? A much better trend. But, you know, DQ's not bad. Are energy and nuclear only in strength or any other sector. I'm confused what you mean by that. There's a lot of stocks in a bunch of groups that are showing strength, like biotechs, pharmaceuticals, and healthcare are slightly pulling back, but that's one of the strongest groups out there. Gold and silver look pretty great. There's plenty of strength there. Energy stocks look pretty good. I mean, there's just so semiconductors are acting awesome. I mean, there's strength all over the place. Yeah, I saw that ONDS news. Ondes Autonomous Systems subsidiary selected as prime contractor on behalf of a government entity with initial drone purchase.
IXX reaches 180 billion annualized revenue run rate. On BGLC,
I mean, at some point, Bitcoin's good for a bounce, and a few days with the reversal when MSTR had the reversal. I think it's fine, right? I think we're gonna have a bounce here pretty soon, and but I don't know. Like this isn't where for me this isn't where low risk swing setups are born. Right below the 200 simple moving average. There's just the best stocks are above their 200. Oh man, SYM got killed yesterday. Yeah, smoked. I leave something like this alone. Personally, Lumen looking pretty good. Yeah, not bad. Nice job bouncing off the 50. Now let's see if we can build out a little. I'm still short iron. Yeah, I'm short iron from the 50 day. I shorted iron on the 20th of November. It's not a huge position, but something better than nothing. If we can get another $10 out of this thing, I'd be a pretty happy camper. Good morning. REAL, luxury retail, the real. I mean, here's the thing with the real. It's in an awesome group at the moment. God, gold, that's so frustrating. Played that like a total scrub. Trump talk at 2:30 about Genesis. I don't know what Genesis is. You're looking to short MSTR? Yeah, I would look, the short was I shorted it here against the 200 and it worked. I should have reshorted it on the 7th. That was my big mistake of not shorting this thing at $350. But it's already made such a big move. Like looking to short MSTR down here, it's just not the right way of doing things. I'm not saying it can't go lower. I'm not saying it won't go lower. But your short was here. I was talking about this being a short up here, right, in July. So, shorting it down here, it's like this was the move to capture, right? This thing went down 50+%. Now wanting to short it up, down here, it's not the right way. Yeah, they got downgraded. SYM was downgraded yesterday. That's what happened. No, there are. You just need to build a script. I don't know why you need monthly dollar volume inflows for particular sectors. Even Deep View doesn't have that. That shouldn't be like some make or break to try and figure out where money's going. APLD needs some time. This is kind of a sloppy chart at the moment. I mean, you make a big move up, you yank pretty hard off the highs, 50%. It's just kind of sloppy here. Needs to push back up and then tighten and build out the right-hand side of its base. SCCO, yeah, much better. Oh, and gapping up this morning. What the hell? What the hell? I didn't see any news on this thing. I'm assuming I have not taken a peek at copper. I'm assuming copper is up this morning. Let's take a look. Oh, yeah, copper's up this morning. Copper's up 3% this morning. I don't know if I could pull it up on here. Let's see. Copper futures. Yep. Well, that makes sense why SCCO is up. Dell snapping back now. Yeah, just it does what a lot of these other big names have done recently, right? So Dell bouncing off the 200. Amazon is another one that bounced off the 200. Microsoft's another one that bounced off the 200. Airlines are acting well. DAL, UAL, Love. I mean, I can't really buy this here, right? Like, where's the tightness? Where is the tight? I don't see it. How do I see Tesla? Tesla could be interesting if it reclaims the 50 simple moving average, and we're at it right now. Yeah, I don't think it matters what Trump says about quantum or any of the related topics. Like, it really does. Like, when a sector and a stock is in a downtrend, right, we might get a pop, but that doesn't necessarily mean this chart looks good. It looks like we're on the backside of the move. I mean, I don't know. We could easily rally right back up, but doesn't really matter, to be honest with you. Yeah, I mean, XLF's interesting. It's technically still some lower highs here, but not a terrible chart. What's the difference between letting the right side of the chart build out and a bull flag? Well, APLD is not a bull flag, right? This chart isn't tight. Meanwhile, something like GSAT, this is tight. It's above all key moving averages. This chart did not get beat up during the most recent market pullback, and we have officially tightened up here. You've built a series of higher lows, right, against the 20 simple moving average, and you're tightening up on the right-hand side. Every time volatility contracts, you're technically, for now, building a higher low. Does that mean you have to go higher? No. But, like, what would you prefer to try and trade out of? GSAT or APLD, which still looks like hot trash? So you need the right hand side of the chart to build out so you can find a low risk entry at the very least. Doesn't really exist yet with an APLD. Yeah, but that's daily dollar volume over 20 days. That's a little different. I misinterpreted what you were trying to say, but I have the same thing built out on Thinkorswim. You can just build it as a script. SCCO is a nice chart. Yeah, BE is pretty interesting. You're just hanging out right near the 50 simple moving average. Some people, here's the reality. Some people like buying these pullbacks, right? You get this pullback, you get an undercut and reclaim. Some people buy, this $88, $89 level, and then you get that little bit of a pop back to the 50, and then that's, and that's that. I mean, and then you just let it work. The undercut and reclaims are setups that are working pretty well. AA, that's aluminum. Aluminum's looking good, man. Alcoa. So aluminum, copper, gold. Yeah, I think this one's up. It's just straight up, not one that I could buy. GFI, for instance, for me, a little bit more interesting through the pivot. We'll see. SNDK, a little bit of relative weakness, to be honest with you. Thoughts on STX? This one's weird because it's already made such a massive move. I like that it's holding the 50. I don't really see where I'd get involved on this thing if not back over this level here. But yeah, I'm not sure exactly where I'd get involved with that name. And you've had like some weakness in that SNDK. What is this? Pampa? What is that? PAM. Nice. It's not bad. Not bad. Maybe a slight bit thin. Nah, I don't care for serve. I mean, I know it's gapping up, but I don't care for this chart at all. I don't try to bottom fish stuff. right? I need it to like truly set up the right-hand side of the chart. Do you recommend taking any position further from daily 50 or 20, i.e. middle of the chart or a breakout? I don't like buying extended from the 50. You could take a position. I mean, if you're extended from the 20, that means you're really extended from the 50.
MS interest to acquire your bio health. That's an HINS, an LIVN,
No, not necessarily. No, the lower time frame doesn't need to be above all EMAs. Not if you're buying like an undercut and reclaim. QBTS run up in pre-market. I mean, doesn't really matter with this name. This name is such a dog below a declining 20 and a curling 50. I mean, it looks horrible. QBTS, QUBT. I mean, just disgusting. IONQ. I still have my Rigetti short. I mean, these names look just horrible. DOCN. I mean, I don't know. I don't feel like we've missed anything here just yet. Genomics. It's Neo's in the right sector. Oh shit! What's the news here?
Coming from the information, Microsoft lowers AI software sales quota.
Yeah, Microsoft lowers AI software's quota as customers resist newer products.
Microsoft SFT.
Yeah, AG weekly chart. No, I get it. But commodities for me, better to be bought off of ascending moving averages. Always. So, and a lot of names kind of getting hit on the back of that news. They even just took down the S&P 500 a little bit on that. Nothing crazy, but looks like IREN rolling into the red, LEGN. This looks like it's super thin. 50 million bucks. Am I looking at the right chart? Oh, LGN. Yeah, super thin. 30 million bucks? No. Thoughts on NEE? I actually own that name already. So I'm just using the 20 simple moving average as my guide. I use a few things. One, the individual charts on Thinkorswim. We'll have a news feed. I also use Trade Exchange, and that has a squawk. Yeah, SNDK. 200. Do I put an emphasis on them? No, they just help me. They show me trend. That's the biggest. That's all, right? They just give me underlying trend. Gold, silver, nugget. Thoughts on LVS? Not bad. DraftKings probably leave alone. Yeah, DraftKings below a falling 200. I mean, there's no reason to be even looking at that one, to be honest with you. LVS or Win. Wow, they're really taking it to like a MU this morning. Microsoft, obviously. Do I view Reddit as a valid buy? Yeah, when it takes out this pivot. If it can just build out a little bit more underneath that 231, I think that would be good. Look exactly where it rejected yesterday, right? Those October 31st highs. Either that or a higher low setup as this thing comes and pulls back into the 50. Oh, yeah, PSTG down on earnings yesterday. Yeah, no good. No good. The minimum ADR I like to trade is at least, I mean, I'll go lower if I've got cash on hand. Because like I always have a phrase like I'd rather make slow money than no money. But like in an ideal world, you're trading names that move, more than 3.5-4% per day. Lemonade fine, kind of a nasty down day yesterday. Still for me needs to take out the high volume close. Yeah, Prax isn't bad. Not bad. I mean, it's only going to be a 5-star setup when it actually breaks out. Yeah, that's my whole point about I'd rather make slow money than no money. I've got not enough longs open in my portfolio. So, like, let's say I were getting close to being fully invested and I saw another chart that moves 5% per day and looks great. I would get out of NEE. Like, I would get out of my slowest names first. But if you've got cash on the sidelines, would you rather be in something that's moving deadly slow or not in anything at all? IREN. What a gorgeous move. If the stock is approaching the 50-20 and it's flushing, no 620. Yeah, I wait for a 620 setup always. You just wait and buy near the 50. I'm a little confused on what you're asking there, though. How would you like to start Tesla if it were up to you? I need it to be trading above the 50 simple moving average, right? And right now we are below. How do I like BE if it gets to 112? Not bad, not bad. I don't really know what to make of this name yet. Like, it's made such a big move up. I don't know what to make of what's going on. Just maybe a longer base is probably what's needed. TTI, not an ugly name. Super, super tight day yesterday. Yeah, FSLR is interesting. We'll see if, the market doesn't take these names down. So, I don't know. The market's kind of yanking here pretty hard. And like if you look at, do I have NASDAQ futures on here? Yeah, here we go. NASDAQ futures, S&P 500 futures. I mean, these are actually, this is lower. I don't know why this isn't open at the moment. But yeah, the QQQ getting pulled on that Microsoft news. So Hut shortable today? No. You wanted to short Hut yesterday when you rejected the 50 simple moving average at about 42.80. Like a 5-minute opening range break to the downside would have done it. right? Right in here or right in there. Both are doable. You notice this little red box? That's a resistance gap, right? This thing had a resistance gap right in here. It's exactly where it rejected. So yeah, I don't know that you short HUT today, right? It's not the way. You're either there to short them at the right time or you don't short them at all, right? Like similar to when I shorted iron, right? I shorted iron when it went and hit the 50 simple moving average. That's when you want to be there to short, particular names. You don't want to short too much weakness. That's not to say they can't go lower. That's just to say that's not your lowest risk spot. Oh, got it. I'm on delayed futures quotes. Well, that would make some sense. How the hell do I change that and get not delayed futures quotes? Okay, cool. Well, thank you guys for that heads up. Looks like I know now what I need. I meant to say, if a stock is pulling into the daily 50, are you waiting for a 620 cross before buying it, or should you just buy it when it approaches the 50? No, I personally, so like let's just say a stock pulls into the 50 simple moving average and then starts to bounce. I buy the 620 setup after it's triggered, right? I don't just buy it as it hit the 50. I buy it when it actually starts to turn up, right? That's the important part. Because why is that? It now has given me a defined level of risk because it bounced, and I now know, hey, look, this is now triggered a 620 setup. This is my stop at those lows. This is how much I'm risking to get in this trade. My stop was the 20 simple moving average, a close below the 20 simple moving average. I bought this thing 2 days prior, right in here. And on a 620 setup. And my stop was a close below the 20 simple moving average. Netflix, nice pull so far. Yeah, fantastic. Man, I had to show some super patience with that. Yeah, that resistance gap was made by resistance and support gap was made by somebody in the Discord. No, HCC's below the 200 simple moving average. Just scratch charts that are underneath the 200 SMA just off your radar. Just throw these stocks out. I don't care what sector they're in. HCC should not be on your radar at all. It's below the 200 SMA. There's no reason for anybody to be watching stocks below the 200. Don't do that to yourself. Trust me. Over time, you won't like the results of stocks that are below the 200. Just too much of a headache. Yeah, Frog, not an ugly looking chart. We'll see what ends up happening right at the open because the market's yanking kind of hard, which is completely healthy, by the way. Very welcomed move by the market, to be honest with you. Any advice on short selling and how much margin to have before shorting? My advice on short selling is think about it as the same way as you would a long setup. Have you studied your entry tactics for the setup that you're taking? Right? I feel like there's this like here's one thing I'll say about shorting. Your reward is typically a whole lot smaller than what the long side can be. But that doesn't mean there's not validity to shorting stuff and in particular moments, right? Like for instance, November was I want to say like October was a good month. I made my month, was it in October? On UAMY, Rigetti, and Nugget short, right? And I wish I would have still held UAMY, right? I mean, this thing is at $5. I had an $18.50 average. Look at what would happen if I just sat in this thing. I covered this thing at 13s right in here, and I made a really, really good amount of money. Just imagine if I'd have just held this thing. So, yeah, there's money. I shorted Rigetti at 55. I should have just held it. Instead I covered some at 35. I covered the rest of it. I tried to reshort it at 42. I got stopped out. I didn't short it on this day. I shorted it right here. Look, I just could have traded this thing so much better, but there are moments and there is validity to shorting. But, it's just got to be something that you've studied to make you comfortable. Otherwise, you're just doing something that you're not totally familiar with. Oh, HCC. What are we talking about here? Oh, we're probably talking about Warrior Met Coal. Ah. Okay, well, this is a whole heck of a lot better, I'll tell you that. I don't know that I see a super nice setup here just yet, but well, one, I like to wait for the lockup period to be done. So that's normally when I'll find more interest in them. And then they'll just show up while I do my daily routine, right? They'll just get onto my radar as I do my daily routine. Our Mag 7, Tesla, Apple are the best buy and hold when they approach the daily 50 for a long-term hold? It depends, right? I mean, if you would have said that about Microsoft and you bought it here, well, you would have only had to have watched yourself lose 10% of, that position. So I don't know. I think they're even better bought against the 200 day if you can get it down there. GSAT, yeah, we talked about this one. Not an ugly looking chart. Who knows if the market, decides to bounce back today. In fact, a bit of a pullback around the market would be, kind of a welcomed scenario. That'd be a pretty good situation, honestly. No, I don't use anchored VWAP. Why did I get out of? I'm not sure. I'm not following. For UNR, do you typically buy it even if it's underneath the? Yeah, UNRs can occur underneath the 50 simple moving average, right? You just have to know that that's a level you're watching, right? So on October 22nd, this is when we started to bounce. And if you would have bought this undercut and reclaim on Friday, the 21st, I would have been using that level, to rebuy it as we were going back through. Yeah, I shorted UAMY because it was a parabolic move, right? You had multiple gap up days in a row. You had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You had just multiple gap up days in a row. And then a big pickup in volume. And then I shorted it as a first red day setup, 18.5. And then I ended up covering some like here, day 2, 13s, and then 12. And then when it took out a prior day high, and then when it took out a prior day high, I was done with it again. But that was a huge mistake because look at what this thing ended up doing. And we're like lower right now than we've been this entire time. So similar story with Rigetti and also Nugget. right? We got wildly extended in here. And then I shorted it, and then I had like a 195 stop. And then I saw this gap down, didn't do anything with it, saw this inside day, added more, covered some, covered it all right against the 50 simple moving average. What was my trading looking like with tariff wars? So I was already short February and March because I was getting traction on the short side going into April. When we hit those April lows, I actually played, and there's probably people in here who were in my room during that April low. We played TQQQ on the lows, and then we played it on that Wednesday as well. And then, like after April 22nd, so this day here, we started to really get long a bunch of stocks, right? So Netflix, Palantir, CrowdStrike. We were trying to get long Spotify. So yeah, we were already getting long a bunch of stocks. CLS not long after, Robinhood, Uber. So yeah, played the lows pretty well. But I was already short stocks way before, this was, I was getting short when market was rolling over in here. So February and March, I was short only. PH, Parker Hannafin. Yeah, not an ugly looking chart and gapping up in pre-market. I mean, not a terrible looking chart. So slow though. It's too slow. I mean, unless you're trading with like 10 million bucks and you want to put $1 million+ in there, but it's too slow. Like, why would you want to trade a 2% moving $860 stock? So, all right, guys, I got to get my butt moving. You guys are amazing as always. I appreciate you guys for being here. I will see you. I almost can't even believe how many people we have on live right now. That doesn't even make any sense. So 6,300 of you guys. I mean, that's just kind of bananas. So you guys are, thanks for being here with me. You guys are the best. Thank you guys for the questions. And I will see you guys tomorrow, bright and early. Yep, you guys trade them well. Like I said, you guys don't have to do anything crazy today. What are your setups? Is Microsoft going to drag us down? When you look at the QQQ, is this just a little bit too much of a, V-shaped recovery very quickly? Let the right-hand sides of the base, just settle a little bit. I think the metals continue to act best. Gold, silver, copper, aluminum, steel. That's probably what looks the cleanest. And we'll just take it from there. But anyway, I will see you guys tomorrow morning. You guys have a great rest of your day. Any questions, you guys just reach out on X or in the room if you're in it. We'll talk to you guys soon.